Quick show of hands. Who's first time at CannaGather? Awesome. Very cool. Welcome. Who's been here before? I've been here before. Great. Gene's been here many times. Thank you, Gene. We'll hear from you in a sec. Raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur. Who's an entrepreneur in the crowd? In the industry or not in the industry or soon to be in the industry? Good. Dana counts as an entrepreneur. So if you are interested in speaking and sharing what you're up to, if you're a small early stage company and want to share what you're up to, ask me about the Startup Spotlight. We'll get you up here and give you some time to introduce yourself to the community. Raise your hand if you're an investor. If you're an investor in the industry or interested in the industry, okay, that makes sense. We are going to be doing some pitch events starting in January, so ask me about those. This is sort of what the breakdown looks like. As you can tell from our disclaimer, it's actually pretty accurate. It's about 50% entrepreneurs, a bunch of investors, a couple service providers here and there, some healthcare professionals. We got advocates like Dana, and some media folks like Bill, but I don't see Bill. There's Bill. Hi, Bill. So that's roughly the breakdown. I have good news, and I have bad news. The good news is, quick round of applause for all these amazing people in the audience. The bad news is we don't have any more chairs. There's no more chairs. So if you can find a chair, it's yours, but sorry about that. Quickly want to mention two things about CannaGather. You have the membership program. So if you'd like to see me every month, you can. It's very easy. You just go to cannagather.com/members and you put in your credit card and you can see me every month. Now, who doesn't want that? But more seriously, it's awesome. And in addition to free tickets on a monthly basis, you also get to bring a free +1. If you're like, Josh, that sounds really good, but actually I want to change it a little bit, or I want something else, like if I become a member, then definitely let me know, as we're always iterating here at CannaGather and trying to figure out, someone's taking a picture, trying to figure out how we can make things better. So if there's something that you want to see as part of the membership program, then definitely let me know. In terms of the host committee, Dimi Demopoulos and Ryan Goldstein, they each bought a VIP 4-pack. So they brought 3 of their best friends. They get a shout out, and they get a goodie courtesy of your CBD oils. So if you have 3 friends that are interested in the cannabis industry, make sure to check out the VIP 4-pack, and you also get some gifts. We are going to be trying to ramp that up next year on the gift side. So definitely be on the lookout for that. A couple other quick things about CannaGather. We have an ambassador program. So if you're interested in spreading the word about CannaGather and getting more people involved in the cannabis industry, then definitely speak to myself or Kim over here. Always looking for great folks in the industry to help spread the word. And then feedback. If you have any suggestions for things that we should be doing, ways that I can convince you guys to open my emails and read them, anything that I can do to make them interesting or make the events more interesting, definitely let me know. It would be much appreciated. Quick shout out. CannaGather, it's not just me, obviously. It's a whole team up here. You've probably interacted with many of them, either at the door or getting some food, getting your drinks, getting your name tags, or they might have been the ones who told you about CannaGather in the first place. So quick round of applause to everyone here who makes CannaGather happen. Thank you all. I'm posing. It's David. You'll hear from our sponsors in a sec. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, either vending or having a table out there, I will have you, probably. Just let me know. Josh@cannagather.com. Quick shout out, Northern Swan. You'll hear from Kyle in a bit. Quick round of applause for them for bringing this all together. Cole Shots, you've heard from them before, and you'll hear from them again because they're one of our longest serving partners. Does someone want to come up from Cole Shots? Maybe a Rob or an Erica? Or I can just do it. Okay. So Cole Schatz is a full-service law firm. They have a dedicated cannabis practice as well that Rob is the co-chair of. Erica is on the marketing side.
Speaker tonight. Again. I know, 2 events in a row. Good evening, everybody. My name is Alana Volkov, and I'm an attorney at Cole Schatz. We're a full-service law firm. We're based in Hackensack, New Jersey, but we also have offices in New York and in other parts of the country. We have a full-service cannabis law practice. Hopefully, you'll see the table outside where we list all of the different practices that form a part of our group. It ranges from real estate to corporate to intellectual property to litigation, environmental and things like that. We've been in the space for a while now. We're very, very much entrenched in the New Jersey marketplace. We're following that very, very closely and hoping for good news on Monday, although by all accounts today, I'm not so sure that the good news is going to come on Monday. But anyway, we welcome everybody to come to our table, ask us any questions. Again, we know a lot that's going on, representing a lot of clients in the cannabis space. Okay, thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much. They support us both here in New York and in New Jersey, so thank you all for that. MarijuanaDoctors.com. I am assuming that Ray is going to be the one who is coming up. There he is. MarijuanaDoctors.com. Hello, Ray.
Hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Good, good. So my name is Ray Carrera. I'm the sales director with Marijuana Doctors. And I really got to be honest with you guys. Things don't look good. They look fantastic in our industry. I mean, things are, we're really on the cusp of something huge, which doesn't happen in our lifetimes quite often. So I left Wall Street to join Marijuana Doctors with the architect, who's Jason Drays, our CEO. He's over there. He's masterminded this whole platform where we can literally provide one of the best patient experiences that you can imagine. So the first step is, if anyone has looked and done any research in our industry, we come up in the first couple rankings, typically every state east of Colorado, in the first several links. Once we get our clients on the first page of Google, we pre-screen their patients, and then we also provide a platform to manage, schedule, calendar their patients. So our future is going to be, I think, shaped by understanding the user experience and really getting a grip on what that user is looking for in terms of product, physician, education. If you do see the website, we have just about every law in every state, how to get your card, what qualifies, what doesn't qualify, whether or not telemedicine is permitted. And that really leads the customer, or patient, I should say, with a wonderful user experience, because we make it simple, easy, fast. New York, you get your card on demand anytime you want. We're rolling out our dispensary listings, where dispensaries will be able to list all their products with pictures, nice bios about them, and anything that they want to provide. And then, for example, patients will be able to get their product delivered right to their home. We see this industry as being monumental to the landscape of reducing the deaths by opioids, for example. We know 1 in 3 Americans, according to the AMA, has chronic pain at some time in their life. Why not try medical marijuana first before they need to go to opioids? I think we'll save lives, and at the same time we'll make a beneficial footprint on society. And that's really what it's all about. On top of the wealth that's going to be created in this industry, we're really making a difference to the public and the community, and to leave this place better than we came into it. That's at least the hope and the idea. So not only is marijuana sustainable for so many other products, but it's having such a great impact on the quality of lives of so many people out there. as evidenced in the reduction of prescriptions that have been taken in states where we have medical marijuana. We had a 19% reduction in prescriptions wrote for some of those symptoms or conditions. Our next phase is really understanding this client so well, this patient so well, that we can meet their needs. And by meeting their needs, everyone that works with us, whether it be physician, product companies, dispensaries, we're going to make them stronger than they were before. With that all being said, I think now's the time where everyone should really congratulate themselves for taking a keen interest in this industry. We're really making a difference to the lives of so many. We get calls and people send us videos all the time of the fact that they don't have to take these other medications. They could be a mother. They could be a father. I have 3 kids and one of my own on the way, and I can tell you right now, if my child was playing sports and dislocated their shoulder, I do not want them taking opioids, right? We want them to find another solution that can help first so they're not on medicine for the rest of their lives. I wanted to say thank you to Josh for having these events because I think they're great, and this is what we need is it's education. Market needs to be educated. At our site, you'll see all the educational material that you need to make an informed decision, and that's what we're really providing the user with. We're providing them with everything they need to know about the state laws, what to do, how to ingest it, about the endocannabinoid system. And I highly recommend that anyone that's interested in learning more find something that's going to add value to your business, your life, to the lives of someone you care about. And that's really what it's all about. I also want to say thank you to my team. My team is amazing. They're some of the hardest working people that you can imagine. They're there to meet all customer needs. We take calls 7 days a week because it's very important for us to share in the success of our clients, because without our clients, all of us are nothing. Without patients, all of us are nothing. We have nothing to sell to them, nothing to offer them, no value to deliver. So if we keep that in mind, focusing on patients, focusing on what's best for them, I think we all make this world a better place, and at the same time, we can really make a difference in society. We're seeing it trickle down from so many different layers, from the medical industry to the consumer industry to retail. We're seeing such an impact in the numbers of people living better quality of life. That all being said, I really appreciate everyone that came out tonight to learn a little bit more. And if anyone wants to talk, we'll be around. We'll be at, where do we go after this, Josh? Where?
The after party is at Adora Ray across the street. Thank you so much, Ray, from Marijuana. Thank you. Just want to quickly check the AV. Andrew, can you hear? Can you hear? Nelson, can you hear? All right, great. Great, everyone can hear. Awesome. Thank you, Ray. Rengen Labs. Emre, is he here? There he is. Come on up. New sponsor. Welcome to the CannaGather party. Very interesting platform. Lots of cool stuff going on. He'll share in a sec. Hi.
How are you? Yeah, it's me. It's you too. So, hi everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Gene for introducing us here. Thank you very much from Arkville. Rengen Labs, we are a crowdfunding-based investment platform in high-growth industries with a big focus on cannabis. We do have 50,000 investors. Investors can invest as small as $5,000, $10,000, up to $50,000, $100,000 in specific deals. Kevin J.P. O'Hara, one of our owners here. The other owner is Daniel Master. Why? Hello? Okay. Daniel Master. Let's see. Test. Okay, that's much better. Okay. We are a New York-based crowdfunding platform to invest in cannabis and other high-growth industries, 50,000 users. So far this year, we have raised $93 million for our deals hosted on our website, rangelabs.com. It's a pretty automized platform. You open up an account, send a selfie with your passport next to your face. You pass KYC AML in 1 minute, and then send your accreditation papers in 1 day. You pass that, and then you can choose a deal and invest. The team has a background in investment banking, private equity industries. So we do, like I was a former Wall Street banker, Harvard Business School degree. With the team, we study 40, 50 deals a month, and we vet. We choose 1 or 2 deals every month. And now, a little bit about the background of the company. Our owners, Kevin J.P. O'Hara, the former General Counsel of New York Stock Exchange, Chicago Board of Trade, an American businessman and entrepreneur, one of the first employees of Arca Stock Exchange that was IPO'd and sold to New York Stock Exchange for $3 billion. Our other owner is Daniel Masters, the ex-JP Morgan trader. Now he has the company CoinShares, which is the wealth and asset management company in crypto. Crypto is also the field we started a year ago, now expanding into other high-growth industries. Kevin, why don't you also tell us a little bit about the vision and the mission?
Hi there. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be real brief here. Happy holidays to everyone. Thanks for having us speak to you. I am a lawyer by training, although I don't really practice much anymore. And what I used, as I grew in sort of the securities and commodities side, I used my legal education and regulatory understanding to find business opportunities and regulatory arbitrages. I've essentially worked on nothing but electronic platforms, whether the products were stocks, options, and the like. And in this case, it's essentially the same thing. It's an over-the-counter platform, really, that puts people with ideas, in this case, Green Rush, which is a deal we have up there today, an issuer looking for capital with people that have capital. So that's what our matching engine does essentially on that. We do it in a highly regulated manner. That's where I come from. I come from that world, the culture of regulation and the like. I do believe in going down and talking to regulators and legislatures and trying to change laws and the like for the better. However, when you live within a state of a certain existence of laws, we live within the confines of that. So that's I'm relatively new to the company. We have a really powerful ownership group that's come in. We have a wonderful CEO here, which we've carried on from the previous ownership, and we look forward to growing and perhaps growing with the folks out here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. I am Josh, in case that wasn't clear. Hi. I send you the emails that you delete. But one of you read them, and that made my day. They were like, you guys had a new website. I was like, yeah, we did. So let's spice things up a little bit. The one and only Kim, back from her tour in Florida.
Hello, everyone. Happy holidays. First of all, there are so many amazing people in this room. Who has never been here before, ever? Do you know who you're rubbing elbows with? There are some amazing cannabis entrepreneurs here. We have Jenny baked at home. I mean, I just saw her at MJ BizCon. Amazing. There are so many amazing people here. You won't know that unless you talk to people. So the whole reason why you come to this event is to keep your network popping, correct? Right? So unless you actually open up and hand out your business cards and talk about the shit that really fucking matters, that was my one F-bomb for the night, that's what's important. I want you guys to come in here and feel comfortable enough as a community. Everybody in here likes fucking marijuana. Ooh, that was 2. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. That was 2. Done. Serious. I get so excited. But everybody in here has a common ground. So the most important thing that you can do is show up. The second most important thing that you can do is shine. So hand out your business cards, shake hands, and rub elbows with some of the most influential people in cannabis right here in this room. Right? So tonight, the after party is at Adorale. It's 287 Hudson Street. It's literally a block away. And then, of course, there's the after party. If you want to know where that is, you have to hit me up later. Shout out to our ambassadors. So we have quite a few ambassadors here for CannaGather New York City. Josh, where are you? Can you wave? So this is Josh, the Metabolist. He is one of the ambassadors here for CannaGather New York City, and he just spreads the good word of CannaGather. So, with that being said, good evening, everyone. Gather round. Welcome to the wild world of weed. I am your plug for news and events. This is Cannabis with Kimby. Let's kick things off with some major investment news. Canada's Canopy Growth has entered the vaporizer game with the purchase of Creative Geniuses Stores and Bickle for roughly $165 million US. The mega deal represents another milestone in the industry's maturing market. Before we know it, cannabis will be a hormonal college freshman that won't answer our calls. Hashtag, boy, they grow up fast. Our next bit of news comes thanks to some of you in attendance. Oh, there's so many amazing people here in attendance. New Jersey's recreational cannabis bill? What? Are we not clapping? Don't make me say the F word again. It's happening. It's happening, guys. New Jersey's recreational cannabis bill, which prioritizes communities in need, people of color, and the ladies, looks like it's going to be legal real soon. That, like NFL home games, the action really is in Jersey. Hashtag smoking grass and not pumping gas. Let's cross the borders into Mexico. Oh, yes. In attempt to curb organized crime, Mexico, the new Congress has proposed a bill to legalize cannabis. Look, I would love to discuss this more, but I'm not trying to cross the lines of the Mexican cartel and go adios. Hashtag don't drink the water. Now let's talk about the underground. So a city panel floated the idea that some of New York's estimated $700 million in yearly tax revenue go towards updating the MTA. I want to say the F word bad, the effing MTA. The move makes sense, right? We need to fortify those lines. Dear God about that airline. After all, weed is the best outcome of every New Yorker's least favorite subway game. Hashtag, what's that smell? And finally, in other major investment news, this one's a good one. The parent company of Philip Morris and Marlboro Cigarettes bought 45% of the Canadian principal investment firm Cronos for $1.8 billion. The move now has big tobacco and alcohol majorly involved in weed. So basically, we're a firearms purchase away from having the full ATF cashing in. Hashtag lock, stock, and two smoking joints. You guys, remember, if you want to be part of the cannabis industry, you got to show up. Happy holidays.
So I know the CEO of Cronos from before the cannabis industry, and he was like, "Josh, you got to get into my company. It's going to be cool." And it's probably like 60 cents a share. This was like 2 years ago. And he spoke at CannaGather, and I was like, I can't invest because it would be a conflict of interest. So stock was probably at like, I don't know, $2 a share when he spoke. Show of hands, was anyone here January of last year? Ronnie was definitely there. January last year, where the CEO of Cronos is speaking, his stock was about $2.25 a share. Disclaimer, this is not investment advice, but you would have made 6x. In a year and a half, which is like pretty decent returns. Like, so basically, As you all know, past performance is an indicator of future success. So basically, if you come to CannaGather, it's a good investment. It's basically science or like economics or something. I mean, I wasn't like a finance person or anything, but you should come here more often. And speaking of investing, who is it but Gene Sullivan, the one and only?
Thank you all. I am Gene Sullivan. I am an advisor to cannabis companies, an investor, and certainly an activist, as we all are, right? I didn't like your percentage of activism was very low.
We're all activists.
We are. That's why it should have said 100%. All right, now, do you have the same disease that I have? The disease of FOMO. I have that very badly, and here's why. Do you realize already this year to date, 13.5 billion dollars has been invested. Those are Viridian's numbers. A year ago, right now, 2.7 billion. That's publics and privates. See? Look at that. You should indeed have this disease, and here's the cure. At least here's the cure that I take. I am part of many investment groups, but I am very proud to be part of the ArcView group. We are now 1,000 high net worth people and family offices, but here's the best part. We get together 5 times a year in fun 2.5-day gatherings. The next one is Santa Monica, February 5th to 7th. These are where we teach each other the business, we collaborate, we bring our deals together. I see many ArcView people in the audience, and I think you'd agree they are just better than ever. So if you are a serious investor, we want to meet you. I will stand up here at a little lemonade stand after we're finished to greet you, to show you the way, and to invite you in. And the third thing to say is that we are looking for great business owners building high-growth businesses. And because many of us, my friend Bobby's here and other women, we want to be an open door for women investors and business owners. So if you have a high-growth business, we want to meet you. Come and tell us your story. Come and tell us what you're up to. Come join us, and thank you.
And as of 2 weeks ago, Jean is now letting me publicly say that she is on our board. So thank you, Jean. Welcome. Citron Cooperman. He's coming up with his jacket. There we go. Bring in the team. Okay. Cool. Welcome to New York.
I don't think I need it. Think I need it? Think I need it? All right. Thank you, everyone, for having us. So first of all, I'd like to thank Josh and Ronnie and the entire CannaGather team. Honestly, you know, the community that they put together and the entrepreneurs and the referral sources and the networking they do is amazing. So thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. My name's Harry Carpenter. We are Citron Cooperman. I wanted to bring my entire team up here. This is 5 out of about the 30 people in our practice group. And we do everything as a team. We have all different expertise, so I think that's important. So first, Harry Carpenter. This is Steve Ferreo, Nicole Chiarella, Mitzi Hollenbach, Evan Socio. Okay, between the 5 of us, we represent New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Our firm's footprint is up and down the East Coast. We are the leading accounting firm in the industry with offices from Boston down to Rhode Island, down to Maryland, excuse me for that. But we are the most passionate group of people you will meet. We're not your typical CPAs, but we're all very experienced. We're passionate. We're excited to be here. And we have the experience. Mitzi is our practice leader up in Boston. Massachusetts is a couple years ahead of New York and New Jersey, as you all know. We get to leverage that experience that Mitzi has, and we're close to 100 clients in the industry at this point. So whether you are an entrepreneur and you're looking to be in the application process for license, if you're an investor, or if you're already an operating entity, we're happy to support you. We have tons of entrepreneurs up to and including the 3rd largest cannabis company in the country. So we're here to support you and help you. And please stop by our booth, introduce yourselves, get to know us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you. Thank you all. As you all know, Craig has been a long-time sponsor. If you're looking for CBD oils, particularly an expert in Long Island, Craig is the man. Craig has a booth out there as well. Tribe Toast, a longtime partner. Kim is actually a partner in the business. They have a booth as well. They vend and distribute all sorts of different products, particularly CBD ones. CBDizzle.com, I believe, is one of their main ventures. Be sure to check them out. And Mitchell's Medicinals. So Mitch could not be here, but Mitchell's team is here. So be sure to say hi to Dana and Allie for all of your CBD needs in New York and our New Jersey events as well. So thank you to Mitchell's Medicinals for your support of both of those events. Last but not least, I want to give a shout out to BDS Analytics. If you're looking for good data and trying to understand what's going on in the market, BDS Analytics is one of the leading providers of it. We also have a promo code if you're interested in their reports. 3Win Corp, Eric Newman, obviously, longtime partner. If you're interested in C-Cell technology, probably the hottest thing on the market, be sure to talk to Eric about that. Vortex Power Fans and Splash, as you all know, on the fan side, and you purchase your ticket through the Splash platform, they hook us up. As you may have seen, we have a new website. In particular, what it showcases is that now CannaGather is not just operating in New York. We are operating in New Jersey as well. And I will share some more about our expansion plans, but you can sort of get a sense of what the calendar is going to look like. In my last email, I sent out the plan for the entire year, approximate plan. Don't hold me to it, but we're going to try to shoot for it. So if you're planning, for what you're going to be doing in September of next year, hopefully you'll be coming to CannaGather. And if you're looking to plan a little bit more immediately, next Tuesday, we have Ronnie hosting CannaGather New Jersey. It sounds like Leo is going to be talking about CannaGather New Jersey. So, Leo, if you want to share a couple words about what's happening in New Jersey Monday and then CannaGather.
I'm going to share a whole lot more than that. What's up, y'all? Yeah, right. Yeah. So, next Tuesday, December 18th, is the CannaGather New Jersey Industry Review Party. And you all see who's going to be here. Hey, Gene. Damn, I'm sorry. Hey, Mama. And so you guys see who's here. We got some heavy hitters. We did well in Jersey this year, y'all. Now, enough of that. Last week, I testified in Senate committee to have the New Jersey Adult Use Bill moved out of committee and straight to the Senate for a vote. Now, wait. Thank you, though. Now, here's what's going on. I've been telling clients between December 17th, which is the last day, that they'll be there before they go out for a Christmas break, and the end of first quarter. Okay? That's the time frame that I'm giving in terms of when I think the adult use bill is going to fall. But there's some things about this bill that the activist in me who is coming out right now pisses me the hell off. In fact, it insults me as an African-American man. And one of the things that really pisses me the hell off about this bill is the expungement part about it. Do you guys, you know how I'm always telling you guys, let New Jersey either be the cautionary tale of what not to do or what to do? Okay, this is what not to do. Do you realize that New Jersey, as it stands right now, New Jersey's bill has automatic record expungement for up to 1 ounce? Just 1 ounce. So if you got anything more than 1 ounce, you still in jail. So what you're saying to me is the ACLU just proved that we have a police culture problem. We know we have the prison industrial complex is thriving. This industry has pretty much been built on people that look like me on our backs. And what you want to do is you want to keep a person who looks like me in jail for moving weight, but you want to bring someone who doesn't look like me into New Jersey to move even bigger weight and make millions. You must be out your rabbit ass mind. Not built for that. And that is the stuff that is really starting to get up under my skin and why I talk the way that I talk and say the things that I say, because you just insulted me. Like, are you for real? This whole journey has been one big ass civics lesson. I've learned how a bill works. I learned you got to go to committee. I learned the damn phone numbers of my assembly people. Like, for real. You remember that cartoon when we was a kid? A bill is a bill. Yeah, that's this in real life. Shit. And I've written language. You guys know y'all know what it is. I went through this crap with PTSD. I've been in all these goddamn committee meetings. I'm sitting here talking to these politicians. I had lunch with the governor, all this stuff. And with all that said, the best you could come up with is 1 ounce. Come on, y'all. I have been telling you all for a while. Yes, continue to conduct business as if this is imminent. Imminent being, it's about to go down. Yes, it's about to go down. But the one thing that we all have to start doing is we're going to have to start getting vocal. And you all, this is a cautionary tale because, like I've been saying, you're welcome, New York. And what we do will be the litmus test for what you all do, the cautionary tale. Don't let this whole, I'm sorry, just this damn expungement thing's just really got me rocked out, y'all, for real.
So, Leo, what's going to happen on Monday, do you think? Do you think it's going to be, what's going to happen?
All right, well, what we're expecting is the announcement of the 6 vertical licenses that are due out. 147 applicants applied for in New Jersey for 6. And these are the last 6 of the fully vertical model in New Jersey. After that, the new generation of licenses will be the horizontal model. So this is the last generation of that 6. So we're expecting that announcement to be made either sometime by Monday or the end of the month. The issue has been the Department of Health in New Jersey did not hire a third-party reviewer for all these applications. They did it in-house. And you're talking like 147 applications with like 400 pages apiece. And that's why they're just late with it. It's taking them a while to read through all that paperwork. So these are the things that are delaying what's happening on the medical side. Also, they're looking to expand the New Jersey medical marijuana program for even more qualifying conditions. The New Jersey Medical Marijuana Review Board will probably be making an announcement very soon, taking in suggestions from the general public on qualifying conditions that you may suggest. I know I put in one time for IBS and for Crohn's and all that stuff. So these are all, and opioid addiction is being added to it too. But there's like 2 parts to it in which they're trying to do it. So again, y'all, I'm tired. This is what it looks like when you're in the midst of being on the ground floor. That ground floor is not going to be ground floor for very long. I'm very proud of all of you, those who are doing this business, those who are curious. You need to hurry up. Please do not take what you see here as arrogance. This is urgency. Okay, folks? That's what this is. So let's go, y'all. We got work to do.
Thank you, Leo.
Real quick, one last thing. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., myself, Cannabis Cultural Association, Marvin Washington, my boy Jose Balin, all of us will be at the federal courthouse at 40 Foley Street. We're suing the Department of Justice. So this is our appeals. So we need you all to come on out. Let's pack this place up because they really think it's a game. All right? Take care.
Thank you. Is this working? It's working. So what does CannaGather look like going forward? If any of you are in LA or have friends in LA, we'll probably kick that off second week of January. Our roadmap is DC, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Philadelphia. If anyone is interested in getting involved, let me know. For San Francisco, Toronto, Colorado, Chicago, and Michigan. We are exploring, probably a little too early, but if you want to get involved in any of those, definitely let me know. What's going to happen January 22nd? So we were talking about Weed for Rails. We're going to have the former speaker of the city council as our special guest speaker, who just confirmed, and so did Giada from New Frontier Data, also known as G. That's her nickname that she gives to people because apparently people can't say her name properly. That was definitely me for a while, but now I can say it. January 22nd, New Frontier CEO and founder, and also the former speaker of the New York City City Council. And now we're almost to Kyle. I know you've all been waiting. A couple notes. So no one actually read this slide because I used to have it after the speaker. So let's just go over it now. We got the after party literally across the street at Adoro Lay. Please return the name tag holders. Apparently mine fell off at some point, but you guys all know. There it is. All right, because I saved Ronnie's seat. You're welcome, Ronnie. Please save these for the environment. You also don't need to print your tickets out. You can just bring the email or say your name usually. And then make sure to get your tickets to New Jersey and the next New York event. Take a deep breath. We made it. Raise your hand if you're ready for Kyle. I think we're ready for Kyle. Round of applause. Kyle Detwiler, founder, co-founder, and CEO of Northern Swan. So this is, first of all, thank you. This is the good one. So let's chat for a second. A couple intro questions, and then we'll switch seats, play a little bit musical chairs. So we go back a little bit, but apparently I sent you a LinkedIn request in 2008, you said, or something. But many other people in the room don't know you. So I guess, Kyle, who are you?
Yeah, hey everyone. Thanks for coming. Also, just a special thanks. Tonight is such a special night for me in another way. It is my fiance's birthday, and she volunteered to come here tonight. I have a hole to dig myself out of to, get her to come here tonight. But so thank you to Sarah.
I was trying to convince Mariel that we would do the wedding here, but I thought that might be a weird surprise.
Canna wedding? I like it.
A weird surprise wedding. Next time.
Next time. I grew up in a small town in South Dakota. Josh and I overlapped, I guess, because so I went to Princeton as an undergraduate, and I worked in the investing world for about 10 years. My co-founder to an investment firm whispered to me, "Hey, I think we should invest in marijuana." I told them to go, take that idea somewhere else. I grew up as a non-user, child of the Nancy Reagan "just say no." I might have even been a Republican at one point in my life. I don't know if I would say that anymore. I know, right? That bad. And here we are. We run a company called Northern Swan with over 250 professionals, building a large cannabis operation centered around Colombia.
Cool. And then why did you get into the cannabis industry?
I think at first it was a challenge. I wanted to prove my partner he had a bad idea. And I think
you sure proved him.
I think he proved me wrong. So I think I just started to analyze all of the information sources that I had used to form my opinions. Were basically just propaganda. It wasn't based on science. It was based on anecdotes. I started to see how cannabis was making an impact in some of my friends' lives. You start to hear a little bit more of the stories. And then you start to find your personal connection. I lost a number of family members to lung cancer from tobacco. Parkinson's as well runs in the family. So these sorts of issues became a little bit more front and center for me.
I'm sorry to hear that. So I think it would be helpful. I have a pretty good sense of what Northern Swan is because I've looked through all of your materials before. But I guess let's just jump into the video for a second. And if you want to narrate, you can, but if not.
Sure. So what you're about to see here is what we believe to be one of the largest federally legal marijuana projects on the planet. And this is down in Bogota, Colombia. So like in many places, we have to grow it, but we also have to extract it. So you saw the farm, so you're seeing the supply chain, and here is one of the world's largest federally legal extraction facilities on the planet. Trying to keep it short. Sure.
Musical chairs.
Great. So who are we at Northern Swan? I'm Kyle Detwiler. I'm the CEO. I went to business school at Harvard Business School. Before that, I worked at KKR, which is a large private equity firm. I worked in natural resources like sugarcane, coal, and iron ore. Then I later went to the Blackstone Group before I met my co-founder, Tim Tully, right over here, who worked also in the alternative asset world at a large hedge fund here in New York called Oxif. Our COO, Del Wright, former and recovering corporate attorney, also some time at Bessemer Trust. And our CFO is also here tonight. Chris Sim came from the retail world, was the CFO of a number of retail companies. Most recognizable would be Lord & Taylor, but also was COO of Hudson's Bay Company, which is one of Canada's largest retailers. In our past careers, the professionals of Northern Swan have invested $3 billion as principals. We'd also founded a private equity firm prior to starting Northern Swan, where we had invested about $100 million of capital that generated 37% annual rates of return. It's not as good as Kronos, 6x, but it's still pretty good. So what are we today? We are a hybrid investment and operating company in the cannabis space. We have over 240 employees if you count a 70-person construction team. We have a 1.4 million square foot greenhouse being erected in Colombia that's about 1/3 finished. And we have a investment team spread between New York City and Bogota with about a dozen people. We have had 3 separate financing rounds. We've raised about $40 million US in capital. Cowen and Company, one of the leading U.S. investment banks in the space, is helping us raise our Series D before we go public on the NASDAQ later in 2019. We are a vertically integrated player, and when I say vertically integrated, I hopefully am one of the few cannabis companies that begins to think about that meaning globally vertically integrated. So, our source of raw cannabinoids comes from Colombia. But we will need to take those cannabinoids to other places around the world. So we have, a strong genetic bank with 160 different strains. We obviously have a low-cost cultivation. We have a very large extraction facility. We're beginning to become a big B2B sales point. But I think the real value uplift for Northern Swan is eventually to have brands, and we've invested all along that spectrum, including an investment in Lift & Co., which is a Canadian events and data business, which is helping guide some of our branding decisions. So the center of our platform is low-cost, large-scale cultivation. I think everybody's been fearing that Colombia would get into the market at some point. We are a very quiet organization, but the secret's out. I mean, we're here. So Colombia, if you were to think of one of its main industries, Colombia is one of the flower capitals in the world. So if you walked into a flower shop down in the corner of New York City, 7 in 10 flowers come from the country of Colombia. They're on the equator, which creates a 12-hour sunlight, 12-hour darkness condition. That is what a lot of fancy and expensive indoor facilities have to trick cannabis to feel like. In addition to that, the flower workforce is highly available to bring their expertise into the space. If I were to make an analogy to other industries, I grew up in the commodity space. So you can get oil out of the sands of Canada, but it costs you 3 times as much as dropping a straw on the ground in Saudi Arabia. Manufacturing is another good analogy. It is always going to be cheaper to do it in China and other locations. There's some good reasons, of course, to do it in the U.S. as well. But in Colombia, we believe we have a 10 times cost advantage relative to an indoor facility being erected in Canada today. So if you looked at this against a number of publicly traded companies, we believe our cost of production is down to 20 cents a gram. the Canadian average, and these, Canadian firms are larger than any of the American firms, especially by any one facility. Their average is about 6 times our level, and the most inefficient are about 10 times. It's not just about growing it cheaper, though. It's about building it cheaper. So the average cost, if you think about what goes into building an indoor facility in the middle of Alberta, next to a ski slope, it's pretty expensive, right? It snows. You don't get sunlight year round. You have to deal with humidity. You have to deal with changes in thermal conditions. You have to deal with lighting. You have to deal with workforces that are much more expensive to build those facilities. So we have replicated a Canadian licensed producer that's worth, anywhere from $1 billion to $10 billion for an investment of $15 million. If you stacked us up against the Canadian operations, in cultivation, we're the 6th largest in the world today at this very moment. Our facility is in the process of being, expanded to 1.5 million square feet. We should be there by the summer. Of course, the other guys will be bigger too. But we're also one of only 5 of the major producers that is targeting GMP certification. So, if you ever go to a CannaGather in Frankfurt, which I know you didn't mention, the industry is very different there. It's much more pharmaceutical oriented. It's about GMP certified production. It's a very different market. So 6th largest cultivator, but in extraction, by the laws of Colombia, we actually have to put everything through an extractor. So we can't, people might have that image of an oil freighter taking bales full of dried marijuana up to the United States. It's not going to be like that. And by the extraction capacity, we're the 5th largest in the world amongst the Canadians. We have partners down in Colombia, so we own about 70% of the asset and manage that with a team that owns the remainder of that. We went down to Colombia in 2016. We met with all of the original licenses. There were groups that were more advanced than us, but we decided to pick the best team. We didn't get the best deal. We got the best team. So Andres Fajardo, the chairman, he's a Harvard Business School graduate. He was a partner at Booz Consulting for 15 years. He also ran a private equity-backed healthcare company with over 2,000 employees. Julian Wilches, that is the former drug czar of Colombia. If you go Google or YouTube, Colombia and marijuana legalization, you're likely to see Julian on TV making the case to the Colombian population to promote the medical marijuana program. And then the last person I'd point out is Antonio. Antonio is, a chief agronomist. And when I say that, we went out to find people that had agricultural experience. We didn't want somebody that grew on 1 million square feet of tomato farms or 1 million square feet of flowers. Antonio's grown on 46 million square feet of flower production. On top of that, we have a dedicated team from Northern Swan, including 2 of our best that are stationed full-time in Bogota. So this is a quick look at the first cultivation site. I say first because ultimately there'll be many, many different farms. But, when I came talking to investors a couple years ago about investing in Colombian cannabis, I think most of them thought I was crazy. Most of them thought I'd end up on a season of Narcos. And most people didn't think we could do it. They said, well, everybody in Canada says we have to do it indoor. We have to have all this expensive equipment. We do this in a semi-open outdoor environment. Our aeration or ventilation factor is among the highest in the world. So we don't try to keep the air out. We actually try to pull it in. And we did what nobody said we could do. That flower down in the bottom center, that's, semi-outdoor grown production. There's no supplemental lighting. There was no mold outbreaks. There's no pests. We also grow at about 8,300 feet. That's the elevation around Bogota, so that's about as high as a high ski resort. That mitigates a lot of pests. So there's a lot of agronomical decisions that went into planning what is to be an industrial scale farm. On top of that, we have up and running right now an 11,000 square foot extraction factory. That's 3 stories. We are going to expand it to about 4 times the size. We are the first in Colombia to transport product within the country. We're the first to extract within the country. We do it both using CO2 and ethanol. People will ask me why we don't use butane, but because we're sending to Europe, the terpenes and the flavonoids are a little bit less critical in those markets. So we have to use something that you could eat your breakfast off the floor, right? So that's a GMP certified facility. We believe one of the first in Latin America. the principles of Northern Swan, it's not our first rodeo down in Colombia. So we've invested over $500 million of capital in Latin America before we made this investment. We took 6 trips down there. We met in person with all of the different regulators. I think we had 4 separate law firms involved in that. We background checked every single shareholder, every single former shareholder, and engaged a number of real estate appraisal firms to check everything. So if you get anything out of us, we might spend a little bit more to get the deal done, but it is squeaky clean. So if we can grow it, can we sell it? That's what we're working on. When we got into this space, the entire business model was just predicated on growing more, growing it cheaper, and extracting it cheaper than everybody else. But when we got to Frankfurt, we realized there's no Coca-Cola there, right? So we thought we were getting into the soda pop game with a cheaper sweetener, but we realized there's no Coca-Cola, there's no Pepsi, there's no Jones Soda. And so Northern Swan, I think, does have the opportunity to scale up. What would you do with the largest source of federally legal cannabinoids on the planet? You probably should try your hand at brands. Maybe you should try your hand at private label. If one of you out there has that amazing CBD beverage that you need to get a contract with at Walmart, where in the world are you going to get 10,000 kilograms of CBD isolate from a reliable GMP certified supplier? It could be us, but we'll see. We've signed 9 supply agreements in 6 different countries. We've had 2 of our customers invest over $2 million in the company. We have ongoing joint ventures with some of Latin America's largest pharmaceutical companies. I think it's only a question, we don't have it shaded in, of course, but the U.S. There is a question. You can get CBD from hemp in Kentucky. You can also grow it from marijuana in Colombia. So we'll see. Our business model never planned on bringing it to the United States, but it's possible. We're not the only ones in Latin America. There are differences in strategy down there. I'd say, the 2 biggest differences that we see are where we sell. So a lot of the other firms are trying to sell within the Latin American market. We think if you can sell in Germany at 10 euros a gram, probably should sell there rather than Bogota at $1 a gram. And the second is a lot of other groups are contracting their growing. That's how a big farm does it. That's how Philip Morris gets its tobacco. 90% of it they don't even own. But if you want to sell something that's GMP certified to a facility in Germany, I don't think you're going to be very successful trying to contract grow your cannabis from somebody that's been growing for the FARC or a cartel for 30 years in Western Colombia where we don't feel safe going. I think for now, maybe that's 10 years away, but for now we own it all. There are only about 3 independent companies in Colombia. One of them's publicly traded. That's Chiron. Pharmacielos trying to list soon. The other 3 were scooped up by the big Canadian firms, anywhere from $100 million to about $300 million a pop. But Canada's nice. Europe's bigger. 740 million people. It's a lot bigger than 37 million people. So, I think you should probably hear announcements for us in the next couple of months about Europe. That's where our first brands will be launched. And I think, CBD in Europe is really the next big thing. And it's a great place for us to focus because the number of people over there is, maybe there's a dozen or 2 dozen companies capable of selling CBD in Europe in a GMP certified way in the next year. So I think that's a competitive advantage. Here's our financial forecast. A thing that we always kind of joke about is we label our square footage, our capacity in hectares. Most people say, what's a hectare? A hectare is about 2 football fields. It's about 107,000 square feet. So our business plan is by 2022 to have 10 million square feet of production. That's 311,000 kilograms of dried flower. That's a lot of flour. And 30,000 kilograms of gross oil. On our financial forecast, the one thing I'm proud of is our entire model is predicated on a revenue base of about $1 a gram. I would challenge you to find one other cannabis business plan that you've seen that is predicated on selling marijuana at $1 a gram. But, one of our peers in Colombia models it at 10. One of our peers actually thinks their 2019 revenue will be $1 billion in Colombia, and we model 25 million. Call us conservative. So, I think we're a global leader in low-cost cultivation. We're a vertically integrated platform. We have the scale to support extraordinary growth in a dynamic industry. I think if you think about what Philip Morris or Constellation have invested in, they want something that's big. They don't want a 100,000 square foot grow. They want a 1 million square foot operation. There are but a handful of those things in the world. And we have that perfect blank slate. We're good investors. I've never lost money investing other people's capital. And we only hire the best. We're hiring top-notch talent at all levels of the organization. So I think that's going to position Northern Swan for a bright future. So thank you, guys.
Swan, nice. Right. Send you back that way. So you took 6 trips to Colombia and didn't invite me to any of them. Fine. I saw a lot of people busting out their phones, taking pictures. Would it be possible to share this with some people if they ask? Or are we allowed to put this on the video in the future?
Yeah, I'd say why don't you guys email me or Dell? Our emails are up here, and we'll make sure we get you a deck with the right information on it.
Cool. So your focus is, it seems, almost entirely in the CBD market, not the THC side. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Not actually. So I think our philosophy is always plan for the worst, hope for the best. In Colombia, getting a license doesn't really mean much. There's a lot of licenses. We might be the most advanced, but there are other licenses. The one thing that will matter in Colombia is they're actually going to ration the amount of THC that can be produced, or psychoactive cannabinoids. So we aren't modeling or presuming we can sell it because we don't have the license or the quota yet to sell that, but we should find out in 2 months.
Just take a step back. Is this working? So you have probably one of the strongest pedigrees in terms of where you've come from, the companies that you worked at, and then you sort of ended up in the cannabis industry, which is obviously a big change given your background, in particular from a family standpoint and political standpoint. What was that transition like? What was that friction from your family, from peers, from yourself?
When I told my mom what I was doing, she asked when she could buy.
When she could buy?
Yeah.
Wow. That is awesome, Mom. You hear that, Mom?
I was a bit surprised.
Years to convince her.
I don't know. In some ways, I think this is actually coming home for me. I grew up in a small town in South Dakota. I grew up around farms. That's not what our family was doing. But then I went into the investment world. I was the sugarcane guy. I set up KKR's office in Sao Paulo when I went down there. I got commodities. I worked in the healthcare side. I saw how drug trials worked. I saw how devices were created. I saw how the FDA went through its process. Cannabis actually just combined a lot of those things. So it's an agricultural element. I am so relaxed when I get down to the farm. I mean, it might be really hot. You might be really sweating, but it's 3 hours outside of Bogota. It's very calm. So in some senses, I think this is actually a coincidence, but natural fit.
It seems like you sort of wear both the investor hat and the entrepreneur hat at the same time. On the one hand, you're running a private equity shop, and then on the other hand, you're the CEO of this company. So I guess what are the main pieces of advice that you have to investors? As you said, you haven't lost other people's money, which is very impressive. I want to learn all the things, but what's the top thing that I guess you'd say that you'd like to share with investors, and the top thing that you'd like to share with entrepreneurs? You're sort of, I thought that this was a pretty powerful slide. Right here is like, you have Canopy, you have Aurora, you have Afria, you have Hexo, Tilray, you guys cleverly use the JV with Northern Swan and Kronos. Like, these are all CanTrust. Like, these are all the names in the space. You're up there. So as one of the leading CEOs in the industry, what is the advice that you have? And then again, like, as an investor, with the experience and the success that you've had, what are your recommendations on both sides of the table?
Yeah, well, I guess my main piece of advice is, stick to what you're good at. Stick to your knitting. Find something you're better at than others. Because I grew up in a sector like sugarcane, I mean, the margins are so razor thin, right? How do you become a successful sugar company? You just have to grow it cheaper than everybody else, right? That's one of the only ways you can do it, unless you can get a government to artificially support your price. So when we got into cannabis, I think that was always in the back of our mind. We were always thinking about what happens in 10 years when some industrial scale operation gets started, or you can grow a THCV, stream out of a bioreactor for 1,000 a kilogram. How do we survive in that world? And so we never let go of that. And it's kind of stuck to it. Maybe we're dogmatic about it, some could say. But I think that's my best advice, I think, from an investor is stick to your guns, don't stretch beyond your core competencies.
And then an entrepreneur who's looking to either build a brand or build a grow or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I'd say, pretty much the same thing. If you want to, build the next brand, I mean, you could be one of 1,000 people competing in the United States, but you could be one of 20 in Europe. Maybe go over there. But find something you're good at, find something you're passionate about, find something you have an edge at. Maybe it's, women's cosmetics. Maybe it's a sports drink. Find something you can relate to. I work 7 days a week. Pretty sure my team does too. And everybody's passionate about it. So, find your mojo, as we would always say. So if you can do that, you'll probably be pretty successful.
Or I guess one last question from me, and then we'll open it up to because I'm sure you all have a lot of questions. New York, the cannabis scene, how it's treated you, and what that's been like, and what you've seen in terms of the change.
Not sure if I really have a viewpoint on it.
Questions from y'all? Any questions back there? Question all the way in the back. I would give you a mic. But this one apparently doesn't work. But apparently it's working a little bit.
How you doing? My name's Tariq. When I saw I see the pictures with all the numbers and billions of dollars and all that. But when I saw the picture of the guys working in the field, I wonder, are you one of those companies that makes like billions of dollars and then the guys that work in the field can get hot water, or how are those guys?
Yeah, actually, I think we were just talking about that as our team today. So this Saturday is going to be our company holiday party in Colombia. And I just want to give you a sense for this. I mean, we are employing 170 people in Colombia. 170. Most of the people that we hired near the farm, were not employed. They were former cattle ranchers. Our holiday party, we're going to take them to the extraction lab, which is close to the city. We're going to take them out to a nice dinner. A number of these people have never even been to Bogota. Think about that. One of the first things that we pushed, as Northern Swan is we wanted to create, nicer workers accommodations kind of near the farms. One of the first things we began implemented, some of our guys were down there and they noticed, why aren't any of the workers, eating lunch? And they said, well, they don't want to take the time off of work. They want to keep going. We said, let's give them free lunch. But this is just silly. I don't know why they aren't doing that at, other employers around the world. So, listen, we have a tough balance, right? We need to be fiduciaries to our investors. Part of the reason to go down to Colombia is that, $300 a month wage is a pretty good wage near where we farm. So I think we take our corporate duties seriously, but compared to the way that some of the other farmers in Colombia have been treated, I'd say actually, we have a pretty good retention rate. I haven't seen the turnover stats yet, but I don't think anybody's quit the company yet. So I think we're really thinking about it, though.
Cool. Great question.
Hi. I wanted to ask two questions. First of all, I wanted to find out if you could explain a little bit more about the licensing system in Colombia, particularly about the differences between psychoactive and non-psychoactive, and then also tell us a little bit about the export quotas that Colombian licensees have, about what exactly those export quotas are, how they affect what you can do. And then I also wanted to understand, if I'm an outside investor and I want to invest in, say, Colombia, am I concerned about something like the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act and how business gets done in, say, a country like Colombia? Things may very well have changed. I don't know, but can you please give us some background?
Yeah, well, stop me if I don't get to all the points. But so let's start with the licenses. So the licenses in Colombia, there are 5. There's cultivation of non-psychoactive cannabis. Some people call that hemp. There's cultivation of psychoactive cannabis. Then there's a seeds license, there's an extraction license, and there's basically an export license. So there are about 100 firms in Colombia that have a license, but you really want the extraction license, and then it's nice to have kind of the rest, right? So there's only about 18 companies that have the what I call the real important licenses. So there's a process to get those. Those were given under the former administration. There's a new president in Colombia that took office this summer. I would suspect the number of licenses is going to go down, not up. But that said, a license is just a piece of paper. When we went down there, we met with the original 6 licensees, and as you start to think about, FCPA is just one of the things you want to worry about investing. But in general, half of what you meet in Colombia is not going to work. They could be crooks. There's a fundamental problem with the asset. Or they don't know how to handle the community. So most of the capital that I put in Latin America was in agriculture or cell towers, and managing community fairs is a big deal. We invite the mayor of the community near our farm and the priest to come out and the military commander, and we take them on tours and they show off our site. If you don't do that, then you get a problem like one of those original 6 licenses where a former worker complains that you're taking water away from the rich people because they put themselves in a World Heritage site, and now your license is worthless. So those are some of the pitfalls, and the other main pitfall about Colombia is the real estate. And that is where the funny business happens in Latin America. You got to background check everything. You got if 1% of the real estate is owned by somebody that was affiliated with narco trafficking or corruption, government can repossess it. Also, there is indigenous problems, so areas where land should be returned to indigenous communities. And then also, if you're on land that's been displaced by somebody from the FARC issue, the government can also repossess that. So that's why our deal costs when we made our first investment here were almost $400,000. Took us about, 7 months to do that. So patience is a virtue.
To one more question, and we'll
with EU compliance for GMP being so stringent, and part of your business model being able to take advantage of, for lack of a better way of saying it, rudimentary farming techniques, how do you plan on conquering that within a year span?
Yeah, sure. So GMP is this, mysterious certification that, you see in pharmaceutical products. You might see it in nutraceutical products as well. GMP is really, once you, pay a bunch of expensive and really intelligent consultants will tell you it's really about process. It's not necessarily sterility, if that makes sense. So to be GMP certified in Frankfurt, the cultivation facility itself doesn't have to be GMP. It has to be GACP, or Good Agricultural Cultivation Practices. So there are, little things like the cannabis can't touch the ground. So when we harvest it, they take out these, sticks over their shoulder, drape it over it, bring it to a drying facility, that sort of thing. We basically just hired, all the best consultants from Canada that got GMP certification for the other big 4, and brought in some Europeans as well, and we're able to find that solution. So.